What up, YouTube? What up, Blockchain Nation? Welcome to All Things Blockchain. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. If you haven't already subscribed, please hit the subscribe button below and make sure you hit the bell notification so that you can get weekly notifications whenever I release these videos. For those who watch consistently, I want to say a big thank you, thank you, thank you. You are indeed far too kind. So today I'm going to do a talk on Ripple. I had somebody who commented on one of my videos recently, and I was talking about EOS and Cardano and some other blockchain or cryptocurrencies, and he mentioned that why not talk about Ripple, and this is something that I actually wanted to do, so thank you so much for mentioning that. So that's what this is. So this is a video where we'll be talking about the XRP token, and hope you enjoy it. All right, so what really is Ripple? I have a problem when things are very, very complicated and it's like over people's heads. That's me too. When I hear stuff that's over my head and it's very complicated, I'm just like, what does this mean? But I like it when people take complex things and make it very simple. I'm sure a lot of you don't know this, but Ashton Kutcher is actually a very, very, very huge tech investor. And he's also a very, very bright guy. Ashton Kutcher, the actor. So here's him on Ellen, and he's actually an investor in Ripple. And let me just show you, this is Ripple's website. But before I go into all that, let's hear the very simple explanation of how Ashton explains it to Ellen. So I'm just going to play this real quick so that you can hear what this looks like, and simple
definition. You got a side gig working with me.
Yes, yes.
Right? And so we do this thing called sound benches. We invest in tech companies. And so we found this very interesting tech company called Ripple that we're going to invest in, right?
Okay, what is Ripple?
So Ripple is basically a platform to allow people to transfer money from bank account to bank account, person to person, really securely, really simply, really quickly. Okay. So
awesome. Well, that's the definition. Really, really cool. So why Ripple, or why do we need to do that? Well, I've worked in the financial services sector for a very, very long time. The good thing about the systems and the applications and the infrastructure that we use in financial services is that this infrastructure is still available to today. The bad news is that this same system, this same infrastructure is still available today. If you get what I mean. What it means is that we're still using the same olden day platforms. You can send an email to someone from here to anywhere around the world instantly. But do you know that if you want to transfer $1,000 to Europe or to Hong Kong, it will actually be faster for you to buy a plane ticket, get on a plane, fly there yourself, and put the money in the bank, because it takes days for the transfer to happen. Part of the reason why this is because, for example, let's say I want to transfer money to a country like, I don't know, somewhere in Africa, or somewhere around the world, anywhere around the world basically, that doesn't use, maybe the US dollar is not their main currency, and that's really a lot of countries. Anyways, so let's say, well, apart from Zimbabwe uses US dollars. So let's say I want to transfer money from here to, let me use a simple example, the UK. So which means that I'll have to take my US dollars and send it to a bank. Oh, I can send it directly to the UK, because UK is, I think the United States, UK and the United States, they probably share what they call Nostra accounts, which are foreign currency accounts. But let me use a country that's really, really far away. Anyways, so I have to buy the take US dollars, look for a bank that holds that current country's currency. Then that bank will now take my dollars, change it to the country's currency, and then send it to another bank or send it directly to that country, which is just usually a mess, which is why it takes days. One of those tools used to do that is something called Swift. Swift is a platform that enables you to do interbank transfers, and that takes forever, baby. I mean, I've done this for a long time. In West Africa and here in the United States, I work for banks that use Swift, that do these transfers, and it doesn't make sense why it takes so long, because the fact that we're using outdated infrastructure and outdated tools. Also, let's say you're somebody who works in the US or works somewhere else in the world, and you want to send money back home. Let's say you live here in the United States and you want to send money to somebody who lives in Nicaragua. You have to use platforms like Western Union, platforms like MoneyGram, which take forever for you to transfer money, and the fees are ridiculous. So here we have Ripple. So Ripple's goal is to make payments simple. For Ripple is the name of the company that has what you call RippleNet, the network that helps us to transfer. Let's look at this. One frictionless experience to send money globally, which is good. So I can send money to anybody anywhere around the world, and I can do it in very, very, very limited time. So the major role why Bitcoin came into fruition, why Bitcoin was invented, was kind of like for this purpose, so we can send money to anybody around the world. Obviously, because of limitations with Bitcoin, other platforms like this have come. Bitcoin does only about, as of this recording, I don't know, less than 10 transactions per second, which is kind of slow if you want to do global payments. So Ripple boasts of being able to do about 1,500 transactions per second at very, very low cost. So let's look at some use cases. Let's look at some like how banks use it, like the example I just gave. So it allows for, let's say you're a corporate client and you want to do business with somebody all around the world. To allow you to do allow global companies to send on-demand payments around the world without fail, which is good, as opposed to using platforms like Swift. I can do transfers or transactions to anybody anywhere around the world without having to use outdated platforms. Also, increase remittance revenues. Ripple helps banks. Well, this is for banks, customers send money to their loved ones in any emerging markets like Mexico, India, and Thailand. This has been a Ripple for the longest time. How all these institutions are making a lot of money. For instance, let's say I want to send. I'm a worker in the U.S. and I'm I don't know, maybe I am a mechanic, and I just make, I don't know how much mechanics make, and I want to send money back home to my family in Nicaragua. Let's say I want to send $50. It's going to cost me, I don't know, $10 just to send $50. So I have to send $60 just to send $50, which is crazy. Why am I spending so much money in fees just to send money back home to my loved ones? So this helps for banks to increase remittance revenues. Well, if I'm a bank, but for the individual to be able to send transactions back home is cheaper than the options of having to use other things like Western Union or MoneyGram. But I did hear that MoneyGram is actually partnering with Ripple to work on all of Ripple's platforms to send money globally, which is great. So that helps everyone, so that it's not too expensive. So what is XRP? Well, XRP is the token, or XRP is the currency which Ripple uses to send. Ripple's the name of the company, and XRP is the token that is sent globally. So for example, as opposed to buying US dollars to send to somebody in Japan, let's say I buy dollars to trade to the Japanese yen, then so that I can send it to Japan. So banks have to hold all these currencies to be able to help their customers transfer money to all these different countries. They have to hold the currency of that company in that country, what they call nostro accounts. In this case, the banks can just hold XRP, which is Ripple, and I can send Ripple from here to anywhere around the world. Then whatever country that I send it to, they can change it from Ripple to their fiat currency, which is really, 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 really cool. It's very fast. You can do payments, settle the payments in about 4 seconds. It's distributed. It's stable. Well, it's supposed to be. Although the price today is about $0.25 to buy Ripple. So I'm not saying invest in Ripple. I'm not saying don't invest in Ripple. I'm just showing you you can make a decision for yourself. So using XRP, banks can source liquidity on demand in real time without having to pre-fund nostro accounts. What that means is, as opposed to if I want, like the example I gave, if the bank wants to send the money to let's say China or Japan, they have to hold the local currency of these countries in what they call nostro accounts. They don't have to do that anymore. They can just hold Ripple and they can send Ripple to anywhere around the world. Premium for providers using Ripple to expand reach into new markets, lower foreign exchange costs, and provide faster payment settlement. I think that pretty much explains itself. So Ripple is the name of the token that we use to send all over the Ripple network, which is so cool. And this is the company. The CEO of the company is a guy named Brad Garlinghouse, who is a rock star. He used to work at, I believe it was Yahoo. Where was it? CEO of from 2000 President of Consumer Applications at AOL. And I also executive positions at Yahoo, which is great. The CTO is a guy named David Schwartz. This guy is an absolute genius. I've listened to some of his talks, and he's like spooky smart, you know. So it was this technical CTO for Webmaster Incorporated. He developed high encrypted cloud storage, and he worked for the NSA. If somebody works for the NSA, trust me, that person has to be very, very bright. I did a video some months ago about one of the great places to work in the crypto space, and I didn't talk about Ripple, but maybe in a future video I'll mention them. I personally think if you can secure a job here, then that'll be a great start for you in your crypto journey. So these are some of the Ripple's customers. Ripple is the name of the company. the arguments, some people say that, well, it's centralized. Well, the Ripple will say that the network is decentralized, which means if Ripple disappears today and goes up in smoke, the software is open source, so the platform will outlive them, so that we don't have to worry about it being centralized in terms of it's dependent on one particular company or entity. But Ripple is the name of the company. RippleNet is a platform where XRP is a token that is exchanged on the platform, and both are supposed to be, or arguably are, decentralized, so that I don't have to worry about one central authority that has control over everything. Buying guide, you can buy Ripple on any of these exchanges like Kraken, like CoinOn. I don't know if you can buy Ripple on Coinbase as of this. Let me look at this. I think I have Coinbase here. Let me see if you can get Ripple on Coinbase. So I'm looking at Coinbase XRP. About XRP is a current. So right now you can actually buy Ripple on Coinbase, which I hope you can see that, is so cool. So you can buy Ripple, and it's a quarter to buy Ripple if you decide to. I don't give financial advice. Cryptocurrencies are a very volatile market, and I'm not saying you should buy or you shouldn't buy. Do your research. I'm just explaining to you what the Ripple platform is about. So I hope I've been able to do that. Let's look at CoinMarketCap. Bitcoin is huge, is number one. Cryptocurrency followed by Ethereum. As you can see, XRP is number two. So you can see the market cap is 10 billion with a B, which is absolutely insane. So the market cap is really when you multiply the price by the circulating supply, which is how many tokens you have, that gives you the market cap. And $10 billion is a lot, baby. Billion with a B. So watch Ashton Kutcher explain Ripple to Ellen. Take your time to review these websites. So this is just a basic entry level, in my opinion, explanation of Ripple.
We talked to Chris and Brad, and we said there's this amazing human being, and all they ever do is think about other people they can give to. Whether it's in New Orleans, whether it's in Montecito, whether it's the people that come here, the people out there, you're always thinking about everyone else. And we wanted to show you that people are thinking about you. So, on behalf of Ripple, we'd like to give you $4 million. Now, usually people come out with the big giant check and do the big giant check thing, but we can actually transfer it into Rwandan francs right now, right here, and all we have to do is push this button and it's in your account. Do you want to push it? You want me to push it?
I would like to push it. I'd like to push it real good.
Bingo.
We love you.
I love you.
We all love you.
I love you.
Have a
I
great
hope that
day.
helps you to have a basic understanding of what Ripple is. Let's look out for this cryptocurrency. There are so many projects in this space that are so exciting. Sometimes you wonder which one do you focus on. The answer is you focus on them all. Anyways, hope that helped. Until next time, my wish for you is that you learn about blockchain technology, because blockchain is changing and will change the world. And in my personal opinion is that those who get involved early will greatly impact the future. And if that's you, then let's go change the world, baby.